Hello and welcome to Staying Rooted, a podcast where we explore stories that stay grounded in place, in purpose, and in people. I'm your host, Kuruvula, and today we journey into the heart of one of Kerala's most serene homestays and its owner, Silu. Silu, welcome
Hi.
to Staying Rooted.
Thank you,
County.
Kiruna. Thank you for the warm welcome.
Yes, Vanilla County. It's a property that built the foundation of Kerala's hospitality scene. Vanilla County is, in fact, more than a place to stay. I've been there 3 times. The first time was over a decade ago. The last time was last year. And I think not much has changed. The way it's been preserved, it's been maintained. It's a home with heritage, a space for connection, a reflection of life purpose. I'm extremely delighted to have you on board here.
Thank you. That was absolutely warm welcome and really grateful to be a part of it.
Great. I just want the viewers to know that Silu is right now at Vanilla County. The backdrop that you see, that's actually part of the property. It's the reading room atop a small cliff on the same property. You basically just sit there, you get the full view of the Maudi Hills. For people who have never been to Vanilla County, how would you describe it?
So, Vanilla County, it's more than just a homestay. People think about a homestay, they have few perceptions in their mind. To elevate the experience, what we give is the warmth, the welcome, the kind of experience what we focus. More than just a homestay, making them feel at home, part of the family, and to give a different experience.
I think something very interesting for listeners here is that Silu came into the family 5 years ago. Is it Silu?
Yes,
Yes,
almost five
so
and a half.
Silu got married into the house. She married Mathew. In the last 5 years, Vanilla County has taken a turn for the better, in a very different way. So I think before Silu came in, I remember Vanilla County used to attract a lot of international visitors. But in the last 5 years, a big pivot has happened where, apart from international visitors, Vanilla County has also started to embrace the local domestic tourism circuit. And Silu, I know you have played a big role in it. Mathew has obviously told me how you have kind of changed the fortunes of Vanilla County in a lot of ways, brought in your own creative ideas into this. Before we go into all that, how does the history of Vanilla County look like? Where does it start from?
The home is an ancestral home built by Matthew's grandfather 75 plus years ago. So, yeah, in Kerala, you know the custom. The younger son inherits the property. So, my father in law was a younger son. So, initially, we were into plantation. We had a lot of plantations like tea, spices, cardamom. It's kind of a mixed spice plantation as well. After a point, my father in law wanted to start something different, and the Kerala government started educating the people. There is a concept of homestay. That's the how we became one of the pioneers of the homestay. That was in 1997. So now we are running the homestay for 25 plus years. It's my in-laws who started the homestay and mold the homestay into this kind of state. So me and Mathew actually got the treasure. Vanilla County is situated in the foothills of Vallikappen. From Kochi, if you say it's 100 kilometers from there, and it's nestled in the beautiful estate. It's surrounded by the sound of birds, nature, and even when it's raining, we have streams close by. You can hear the sounds of the streams and everything. So, yeah, converting the ancestral home to a homestay, that was a big step. Not regretting, and it's going really well.
Great. Silu, one thing you touched upon now, which is of interest, the government obviously supporting Vanilla County. In fact, it's been a mainstay that subsequent governments in Kerala have always supported and promoted tourism, right? Whether it is the left or the Congress governments in power, it doesn't matter. Tourism has been the bread and butter of Kerala's economy. It's been like the backbone of our economy, and governments have always supported you guys. How did the whole support of the government come in place? And can you also talk about the first guest that you guys had? Was it very easy to get that guest at a time when there was no internet, no social media? You guys had to literally depend on the government and its machineries to bring you those foreign tourists in. How did that happen?
Although we started the homestay, we do not have someone to ask, like how do you market it, or like how are you gonna like encourage the people to come in. It was a different system altogether. In the initial few stages, there was no one. Okay. And luckily, my uncle owned a hotel. So a foreigner named Jerome from Japan, he came and he said he wanted to see an elephant. That's very interesting. Like he just said he just wanted to see an elephant. So he was like, okay, I know a place. You can see elephant. You can just stay there, and they will take you to see an elephant. And that's how the guest came in. A family with three kids. He and his wife with three kids, and they came. And although we had the plans, but we never expected the guests coming all of a sudden. That all these stories I'm hearing from my mother. So they decorated the house, and they even didn't basically know what food to give. Like, are they gonna enjoy the Indian food? Should we make like pizza or pasta? Like, what are their thoughts and everything? So they came and we offered the food what we eat. And of course the spice level has to be reduced a lot. And they said they want to go see elephants. So that's the time when the elephants used to truck the wood and everything. We showed them, and they were very fascinated, and they said, okay, the place looks very nice. Is there some place to walk around? So it's like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of places to walk around. And that's when they understood, okay, these kind of people enjoy trekking, and we have natural pool close by. So went and dipped in the rock pool. Through the guests, we should say, my in-laws understood what are their interests and the kind of activities they actually learn from the experiences.
If it's word of mouth that helped you guys initially, how did you guys grow after that? How much did the digital age or the internet age help you in terms of getting more guests aboard and more guests checking into Vanilla County?
Rather than appreciating, no one really accepted the fact that people are going to come here. Okay, this who is going to enjoy a place in the hills, or what is there to see? That was the kind of question. So and my in-laws, they were really motivated. They had this passion in mind, and rather than hearing all these negatives, definitely this is going to catch up. From the first guest spread a lot of word, and his friends started coming in. And then travel agents used to pick up, the foreign travel agents used to pick up, and they marketed the property. And right after, they had really wonderful time. A lot of people coming from Europe, from Canada, from Australia. A lot of people started coming in.
Just for context for listeners, when Silu mentioned Wagaman, just to give you an idea of how remote Wagaman is at least 3 hours from Kochi, 3 to 3.5 hours drive from Kochi. But back then in the 90s, the infrastructure wasn't as good as today. The roads would have been narrow plantation roads, not necessarily good tarred roads all the way. A lot of places would be having kacha roads, and even experiential travel, remote travel is a big fad today with Instagram and all that. Back then, people didn't necessarily travel to these remote locations for that particular one view, or to just experience nature. It was a lot of urban travel that was happening, and that is where Kerala kind of came into the picture. Kerala got the international tourists interested in what they had to offer in terms of offbeat. So, Silu, I think your whole perspective on obviously getting tourists interested in a very remote location is relevant, because in the 90s it would have been so difficult. Today you've got a lot of infrastructural facilities where people can stay
Exactly.
overnight, but back then not many. So it wasn't a destination where people would come from far, because they wouldn't know whether they could stay there or not. And you guys kind of created a niche within that space back then, when offbeat travel wasn't yet a fancy word. You said that you also started to get these travel agents in. How has that changed in today's times? Are you still dependent on traditional travel agents? Have you moved to cut out these middlemen and get your own guests in through digital marketing methods? What is the whole marketing ploy right now at Vanilla County?
So for that, I should say a little bit of my story behind coming here. My husband Mathew, he was a baker in New Zealand. Our marriage took around in 2019, just before COVID, and I we actually waited to be together for 1.5 years. So our plan was to go there in New Zealand and settle there for quite a time, like 10 years, and then come back. So COVID had different plans. Our income is actually stuck. We are in the crisis of COVID because our main customers couldn't travel. and Mathew came, we are actually trying to figure out what to do. So Mathew suggested, okay, let's try to open with the domestic market. Let's see how it goes. We rightly marketed through Instagram. People started knowing the place. We did a collaboration with the Instagram Maria Dominic. So she is a family friend of ours. She came and she talked about the property. A lot of people came to know. The Indian crowd also really wanted to travel because everyone was frustrated sitting at home. They realized that okay, there are a lot of beautiful sights to see in Kerala or in India. So the people who usually go outside India started exploring within the country. We are extremely grateful for that. We were able to find the true customers when it was run with the foreign crowd. We actually had a period of only 6 months. The rest of the 6 months was completely maintenance shut. But right now we have a guest almost 365 days. We did the right marketing at the right time.
I think the economics of that is something we're going to discuss later on in this conversation. It's something very important that you've touched, that a lot of properties in Kerala which depended on the foreign tourists, obviously had a 6 month or a 9 month cycle. And now, thanks to domestic tourists, that's kind of become a 12-month cycle. So many properties I know used to kind of shut off during either the monsoon period or during the summer period because they wouldn't get tourists enough. But now they're like, oh no, it's a 12-month cycle for us. Tell me, what's the domestic share right now?
I would say the domestic share is maybe 60%. It's more than the international guest.
Great. And before COVID, how much was it?
Before COVID, we didn't have domestic guests. We
Oh, wow.
only had
You basically went from 0 to 60%, you're saying.
exactly.
Amazing. I know that it's not cheap to stay at Vanilla County. There's a certain standard that you guys are setting in hospitality, food, the kind of experiences that you provide there, even the properties, whole upkeep is so top class, top notch. Are you seeing more affluent Indians come in?
So yeah, the price range of the rooms starts from 7,500 and go to 10. Yeah, and again it goes a little bit up during the season. More than the price range, the stay is not just about room. It's kind of the experience what you pay, or kind of the facilities what you have. The food, the cost includes not just the room, it gives the facilities what we provide, or the kind of luxury you give in the rooms. And kind of luxury, I mean, it's a little different. We ban the TV in the rooms. Why? Because no, they have to get connected with the nature. They have to go and around the property, explore the place. So there is no telecom in the room. So the facility or the luxury, I mean, it doesn't confine in the kind of terms what a lot of people think, but it's completely neat. Again, you have to decide who is going to come and enjoy, get feedback.
Yeah. In fact, Silu, I think the price that you have mentioned, 7,500, 10,000, it's a very, very good price because I've been to properties that are half the quality of Vanilla County and they charge 15 to 20K. Absurd pricing. I have no idea why some properties that are not even luxury properties, they tend to overcharge. And I think that's become a big talking point in India's hospitality sector today. People are all talking about cheaper destinations like Thailand, Sri Lanka. There's a reason, right? And I think your price point is on spot. You've kind of made luxury travel accessible, which is interesting. You mentioned an interesting point about targeting the right customer so that people don't come in for the room, but people come in for the experience. I'm really curious, how do you do that targeting? How do you make sure that at least 70% of your guests are actually the right customer for you guys?
That is the toughest part, to find the right kind of customers who comes here and enjoy. At the end of the day, you pay a price. So to be well defined, we are there visibly on online platforms like booking.com. When you look at the property, when you see the pictures, or when we give a write-up, so we explain what people expect from us. No, we tell in advance, this is what you're gonna expect, or this is what you're gonna experience. So few guests, like, they're like, okay, this is not kind of a place. Few will be like, okay, this is the place we gotta go. Enjoying the food, enjoying the Kerala cuisine, the food. For few kind of things, we strictly say no.
Saying no is a very powerful thing. In hospitality, sometimes you simply cannot, right? I mean, if it's a lean season, you have to say yes to whoever comes in. Have you had such major issues in the property that you have dealt? Or has your strategy allowed you guys to stay away from all these things?
No, strategy actually came from our experience. It was after 25 years that domestic crowd started coming.
Would you bracket the kind of people who enjoy vanilla.
There are families who come in, they come with their kids. A lot of kids, especially in this area, do not know where the cashew is coming from. They eat cashew, but they may not have seen a cashew tree or where is the pepper coming from. That is kind of one of the experience what we focus on when the guest comes in. We show them if we have some plantations or whatever is going around. We sometimes my children is going in and around, so he'll be like, okay, have you seen? The kids may say, can I need a mango? We'll pluck a mango. When you kind of go to a resort, you may not experience all.
How do you balance your obligations as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter-in-law? How are you balancing work and life?
That is quite an interesting question. My daughter is 1 year old. I am someone who really enjoys talking to people, and to be a part of the homestay, I would say the best part is you can stay at your home and welcome a lot of people from different parts of the country. If you're not enjoying this kind of lifestyle, you will definitely not enjoy. My in-laws take care of the quality. My mom checks the food is again top notch, high quality, and I do the guest relation. It's a family-run business, of
Yeah,
course.
that's amazing. I think Kerala is home to so many family-run businesses. Many people have put their hands into homestays, and many have come out successful. You guys are obviously among the top three, top five, I would say. Silu, that brings me to a very interesting part of the conversation. What are the economics of running a homestay? Obviously, it's all frills and good on the outside, but running a homestay or a hotel is serious business. There's so much of money involved. There are so many jobs involved. What is the economics? The good, the bad, the ugly.
People think about Vallikappen County, they're making so much money. They assume a rough calculation every day. It's full. They're making so much of money. It's not true because there's this huge cost behind it. When you think about a room, there is so much things to be taken care of regarding the laundry or the kind of things we give the food, the quality of the food, and maintenance. That is a very high cost. Being it's a heritage property, and also we live in a remote place, so you have to be for the logistics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks easy, but when you are in the business, try to add on values. For example, post COVID, me and Mathew made a lot of changes here. We even built a bakery just for the in-house guest. There is a pool, there is a spa, to the reading museum you see now. Everything keeps evolving, so there is a cost for maintenance. We keep try to add on values for the guests. When they come back, it's okay. It's not the same old vanilla county. There is something different. There is something more. There is some freshness to the guest.
In fact, just for context of the listeners, there is so much wood used in Vanla County. We've got hardwood beds, we've got Belgian mirrors in there. It's a lot of old school antique luxury in there. That's not easy to maintain. You've got to polish them. You've got to make sure that the
Of course,
termites
yeah.
don't come in. The roof shouldn't leak. It keeps raining there for I think 4 or 5 months at least, even if not
Yeah.
very heavy rain. There is constant pitter patter of water and so much of care that goes into keeping this property as it is. And Silu, I think you touched upon a very interesting point. If a property does not innovate or add something new the next year, guests will get bored of the property if there is nothing new. So tell me, is it really lucrative for youngsters to get into this business? So many got heritage homes. In fact, that's something that many people are trying to do today in Kerala, convert that into a homestay. Many of them are inspired by you. They're also inspired by other people who have done this in the past. What would your suggestion or advice be to them? How do they get started on this? What are the economic pitfalls that they should be aware of?
If you have a thought in mind, you should definitely go for it. It's not really just about homestay. If you have a tarwad kind of setup or a heritage property, it's a way of preserving it. We cannot imagine if it was not a homestay, the house would look as beautiful as this. And also, it's kind of a business. You do not want to pay rent. You live in the same home, so a lot of cost also gets cut in a way because our food, our transportation, everything comes in the expense of Vanilla County too. But also find what you have different than others, what you have to offer. Is it accessible to people, or when they come to you, what else rather than just staying at the home you can offer? So keep having innovative thoughts. It may be silly, but the guest will appreciate the thoughts and you, and keep experimenting and exploring the opportunities what you have. The guest came and told me having a gem is important, but more than that, how do you pull a crowd to come to this gem? Is also very important.
Extending on that point you just now made, has the cost of marketing come down in this age of digital marketing? Are you guys able to now spend less on marketing because of not just word of mouth, but also of the strategies that you have used?
Instagram does a lot of good job. You have limitation what to show, showcase on a profile or your website, but on Instagram there is no numbers. You can keep posting. You can do your content. Yeah.
I think that's the best way to run a business. Silu, what is the future plan of Vanilla County? Like, where are you guys going to take this now? What can guests expect more? Are you guys planning to open a new property?
We initially thought, okay, let's lease out a different property. We have a brand called Vanilla County, but we want to keep it unique. I think Vanilla County will be only Vanilla County, but we do not have any plans to expand the property. Why? Because we only have 8 rooms, so we have a connection to each guest who comes here. So I'm not really sure if we have more guests coming in, if it's possible for us to like individually focus on the guests. We also wanted to cater a little bit of fusion style. We want to curate some more on the food aspect.
Food is a very, very tricky topic, right? If the food is not good, you could offer the best of experiences, but the client or the guest is going to go back and say it was a bad experience. Food is also tricky because foreign tourists are coming in and they're not used to our tastes. Domestic tourists from the north are not used, for example, to the tastes. Uh, you've got people from Kerala who are coming to your property and they are so used to already eating homemade food from so many other top restaurants. How do you make sure that different cultures can kind of bond over what you guys are trying to provide here and bridge all of them over a common plate?
The food is like the main highlight of Vanilla County because there we have guests, the repeated guests, they come mainly for food, I would say. And all thanks to my mother-in-law, Rani, Mrs. Rani Vallikappen. It's all her recipes. I would proudly say we have a lot of domestic and international guests who comes and tell us this is kind of the best food we had in the trip or the Kerala trip. So when you hear that, that's the main thing that makes us happy. If you're happy, what we serve there, 50% of the job is done. I mean, I can go on and on about food.
You guys have created kind of a common ground for different cultures to come and experience food. Do you kind of change ingredients, temper the spiciness, etc., for different people? How does it work when you have, let's say, foreigners staying in 2 rooms, and then other 2 rooms there are people from different parts of India, and then you have Malayalis too? How do you guys ensure that Kerala food is not just for Malayalis but it's for the world?
So spice level is comparatively low because even though we have Indian guests coming in, mostly we have kids, so the tolerance is
Yeah.
little less. The less spice doesn't mean the food is blunt. It's very flavorful. It has to be flavorful. It's not easy, but with lots of love we do that because food is a highlight. The menu has been the same. Amma's recipes has been going on. Mathew is also a chef, so he comes in and he does the job. He makes sourdough breads. And it keeps improving day by day.
You guys have a lot of organic food also, right? Like you collect from the local communities. You also kind of cultivate and grow your own vegetables.
Yeah. So
You give.
basically, what we have, for example, we actually got 20 kgs of nutmeg in the recent harvest. So we made pickle out of it, squash, juice. wine, whatever we get the harvest. Amma comes with a lot of innovative ideas. When we have banana, we make banana jam, or whatever we have in hand with the sources we have. Or when it is the season of hibiscus, we make hibiscus juice, keep it for the guests. Keep on tweaking it, rather than it's always the same taste. Whatever is there in the harvest, we make out of it. It's like that.
Obviously, you guys are an inspiration to so many people who want to dip their feet into Kerala's hospitality sector. And so, this is for the listeners. If the conversation reminded you of the beauty of simplicity, the strength of what a good, grounded family business can do for the local economy, or the joy of hospitality, I hope you can share this episode with someone who'd love it too. Thank you so much, Silu. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for kind of opening your mind, letting us into the back end part of Vanilla County. And until next time, all of you stay grounded, stay curious. Remember, there's something very powerful out there about staying rooted. We are going to get more guests onto the show. People not just from the hospitality sector, but from the tech sector, from manufacturing, food. Everyone's going to talk about how staying rooted has kind of helped them grow. Thank you so much. Thank you, Silu, once more.
Thank you, Kurula, and it was really honor to be part of your show. And